Okay, so why does software development always take longer than you think it's going to take? Now, one of the core reasons is that it's damn hard to estimate the time to complete software. People think of building software who have never done it as kind of, building a widget in a factory, but it's actually closer in spirit to kind of building a custom home in many cases, right? You know generally how it's done. We have the pieces to get it done, but the situation may be completely unique this time. We may encounter a surface that's unleveled. We can take this metaphor pretty far, but I think you get the point. Number two, scope creep and requirements changes. This is a huge one, right? You initially start developing a feature with one expectation for what should be done, and then suddenly you keep getting more and more requests for adding this to it. Oh, let's make it also do this. Let's make it do this. Also, related to number one, the underestimation of complexity, right? It's hard for even the best developers to beforehand anticipate all the things they could encounter when they actually start coding it. Technical debt. Now, technical debt, that is the future cost of additional rework caused by choosing an easy, quick, or limited solution now instead of using a better approach that would take longer. But just like financial debt, technical debt is something that you really want to leverage properly, right? The great thing about the limited solution and getting it out now is that you can then put that solution in the hands of the customer earlier, thereby validating the idea. But you always have to keep in mind that later on, at some point, if this becomes a successful product, you're gonna have to pay that technical debt. And there are multiple places where this can occur in a project, so that can always make it take longer than you think. Also, people don't think about testing, right? You can't just write code and it gets out the door. It has to be tested. You have to go through, staging environments, get it tested there. Then it has to often go to UAT. There can be multiple stages that it has to pass. And so just because the code is done doesn't mean it's deployed to production. Number six, optimism bias, right? As humans, most of us are optimistic many times, especially developers, in their ability to get things done. And it's very, very easy to be more optimistic than maybe pessimistic. So that can have a problem there. And then finally, poor communication, right? Software development is ultimately a team sport. That is one of my favorite sayings about software development. And I think it is probably the dark secret of software. But because of that, if you have a team that's, not firing on all cylinders, they're not communicating effectively together, what could be an easy change could suddenly, spiral into taking weeks or even months to get done. So these are the core reasons why development always takes longer than you think. And this is why it's so important as a bootstrapper to only build things that people will actually pay for, right? You don't have the money that an enterprise has to go invest in a feature that no one's going to pay for 6 months. And you certainly don't have the money that a VC funded startup has to do the same thing. You have to be very sure that people will pay for the things you're building, and that's why you need to validate them. But that is it. That is the core reasons for why software development always takes longer than you think. As always, if I've forgotten one or you have one that you think is incredibly important to mention, please let me know in the comments.